Welcome to Timeball Games. I'm ELD, here to ask you for help in growing the channel. When we reach 2,500 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away a custom leather playmat to one lucky subscriber. So be sure to like and subscribe. Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Timeball Games in Bellingham, Mass. I'm actually on camera here facing off none other than Mark, the Goblin King. He has an Aether Vial, whereas I have a Shuko on turn one. Of course, I'm playing Cephalid Breakfast, one of my favorite legacy decks. The printing of Thassa's Oracle made this, I think, an actual deck. Like, I was playing it as a meme, like just for the lulz previously when you had to use the Mimeoplasm. I polished the deck up, was using Angel of Glory's Rise to good effect, and ultimately, now with Thassa's Oracle, I think it's a legitimate deck, and I've been putting up results with it, so we'll see how this one goes. Goblins, one of the toughest matchups for the deck. You'll note that the Goblin Crater Maker, perhaps the best card against it, is able to take out all of the creatures in the deck and also all of the equipments that give Goblins such fits, things like Umezawa's Jitte and, of course, Batterskull. And now we've got a Limdul's Vault during the end step. So far, we've got Goblin Lackey bringing another Lackey to the board. And Limdul's Vault, for those who haven't seen it, is one of the more powerful cards in Legacy that is underplayed. It is a top deck tutor. The 2 mana is really the main problem with it. It requires black and blue. Sometimes those color requirements can actually be a little tough as well. That is the case in this deck, where sometimes you just really just want it to be a white and blue deck. But you do have a black splash anyways for Cabal Therapy, and in this case for a couple copies of Limdul's Vault, which I've been very impressed with so far. It's a blue card that pitches the Force of Will, and it also sets up the top of your library perfectly, particularly with shenanigans like Brainstorm. All right, so that was during the upkeep in response to the Rishadan port. Now a card is drawn. Aether Vial ticks up to 1. And a dangerous situation here as Goblin Lackeys are coming in. A Matron being vialed in response to the first trigger. So there's 2 Goblin Lackey triggers on the stack here. And we'll see how full tilt the Goblin King plays it. He grabs a Ringleader. And that 2 mana Mountain and Underground Sea in the Badlands, very crucial here. Wart, Boggart, Auntie, I believe the name is. Mother of Runes during the end step. And that gets a Munitions Expert. But this could actually be the opening that Cephalid Breakfast needs. With an Aether Vial on 2, it only requires one thing here, just the Cephalid Illusionist. And there he is. Shuko's already on board. That Mother of Runes really put Mark in a terrible spot. I think he needed the Goblin Crater Maker there, putting in another Ringleader instead of the Wart. Could have given him a chance for that Crater Maker and perhaps cast it and take out that Shuko. Instead, we've got a Dread Returns hitting Thassa's Oracle, and that is a wrap. Very difficult to play around line. Let me know how you would have played that. Much easier to kind of see potential winning lines when you have all the information. Do you think getting rid of the Mother of Runes is the right play there, or is it just too dangerous to allow Shuko to be on board with that Aether Vial at 2? Do you have to find an answer to the Shuko to make sure that a Cephalid Illusionist is not just game over if it shows up? Which it was, because that's what this deck does. It actually does lots of things, to be fair. Cephalid Breakfast also has a strong Stoneforge contingent where you can use Batterskull along with Umezawa's Jite post-board to really wreak havoc on creature-based strategies. And also control decks. I mean, Batterskull, when your opponent takes a look at this deck and thinks it's some type of graveyard recursion deck, and then they just like sideboard in their ley lines and mulligan to them, when you just open up on a turn 2 Stoneforge, I mean, that's just bad news. Like, it's going to be a 4-turn clock. You're going to get out a Batterskull. You can swing with your Stoneforge, and just give this deck a lot of game. I was playing against a deck running Bridge from Below recently, and once you untap with Batterskull in play, I mean, you're not going to lose. So you could just return the Batterskull at any time to get rid of all of their bridges. And, I mean, people often either hope you don't see the line or they themselves don't see the line. I mean, it's not always possible to do anything about it. Batterskull, just one of those cards that has such a home in Legacy. There's so many different decks that play it along with Stoneforge. And they always look so pretty when they don't have lands. It's always like a turn 2 win with like Force of Will backup, but sadly you do need mana. This is not Manaless Dredge. You gotta have at least a land. Sometimes that's enough. I've had plenty of hands where it's just a land and an Aether Vial. Totally fine. I could potentially be convinced to keep a combo hand with the Nomad and the Cephalid and like a cantrip with one land. I mean, that's pretty easy. Tundra, I mean, if you draw a land off the top, you just turn 2 them. You generally don't want to mulligan your turn 2 wins. The deck is a little bit lighter on land than many strategies. This is more in lines with a Delver mana base. So you don't want to be in a situation where you're absolutely all in on finding a land. We've got a Goblin Lackey trading with a Mother of Runes. They both go to the grave. And then during the upkeep, Tundra is tapped. Basic Island into Ponder. We'll see if this ends up being more of a combo game or if there's going to be a bunch of board-based combat. Brainstorm in response to this Rishadan Port tapping down the island during the upkeep. Wasteland took out the Tundra and really just need to keep making land drops here and are able to, which is going to be slightly discouraging for Goblins. Ideally, your opponent's just going to fold when you go after a couple of their lands. Instead, now we've got a Goblin Chieftain coming in for some hasty damage and making sure that each of Mark's future turns can be very dangerous. A Stoneforge Mystic grabs a Shuko, which is then cast, making use of the mana. However, it is now a target. We've got a Mog War Marshal swinging for all sorts of damage here. 6 coming in. And there's a Gempalm Incinerator, which can potentially take down a Cephalid Illusionist if he does show up. 3 goblins on board. Only 1 are needed for the Gempalm to actually be lethal. Tutoring up the Shuko does complicate the lines. It's a question of whether or not they have the Batterskull already. Or are they just going all in on the combo? It's the type of thing that happens when you're playing against a combo deck. It really does put you to the test. And sometimes you're going to be wrong, no matter how good you are. We've got a Cephalid Illusionist and now a Ponder. Interesting sequencing. So Illusionist resolves, Ponder is cast. Now Shuko targets, going to get rid of the top 3 off the top of the library. And Cephalid Illusionist goes away thanks to that Gem Palm Incinerator. A lot of mana being invested here into a Slingang Lieutenant. I think that might be lethal. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I mean, that's lethal even before sacrificing to the Slingang Lieutenant. That would have been lethal from, I believe, 18 life. So, Mark coming back strong in game number 2. We're off to game 3, where Cephalid Breakfast will have the play. And we are jumping right into game 3. We've got a Leyline of the Void along with an Aether Vial facing off against a Mother of Runes. And now a Stoneforge Mystic grabbing a Umezawa's Jite. Cavern of Souls going to make countering Mark's Goblins difficult. Aether Vial also going to make it a problem to try and use counter magic, though it may have actually been sideboarded out. End of turn, Goblin Lackey coming in. A pair of vials giving Mark just a tremendous mana advantage now. Wasteland targeting the Tundra, and now comes Batterskull. Batterskull swings. Now it's important to note Mother of Runes can protect the Germ, but it cannot protect the Batterskull itself. The artifact is not going to be protected by Mom, so if Mark does happen to find a Crater Maker or a Goblin Trashmaster, this Batterskull has no way of surviving currently. Umezawa's Jite comes down, another land, and this is a pretty big turn as Jite gets equipped to the Germ. And a Pashalik Mons is going to complicate things. Swords to Plowshares targets him. He gets returned with Karakas. And now Batterskull pushes the life total further up, sitting at 28. Now with a Batterskull with 2 counters on it. And Pashalik Mons, potentially a big issue. A legendary creature can be thrown in front of the Germ and then bounced with Karakas. A lot of options here. Mother of Runes complicates that situation. There are several ways to play this. Pashalik Mons coming in off of the Vial. A Brainstorm leads things out. Remember, there's a Leyline in play. It's at the top of your screen. And that is potentially preventing the combo. We've got a Shuko. Might as well. That Germ is just holding all of the fun stuff. A Batterskull, a Jite, and now a Shuko. Goblin Lackey blocking, and now the sacrifice, which leaves Pashalik Mons vulnerable as Karakas is now tapped. Mother of Runes protects herself, and then Jite takes out the Pashalik Mons. Shuko now shifts back over, as it only costs 0 to equip. Might as well get a 2/2 out of the deal. And now Mark extends the hand as Batterskull, he feels, is inevitable from that position. It looks like the combo is actually waiting in the wings. Of course, if you get a Thassa's Oracle into hand, you can actually combo out in spite of the Graveyard Hate. And what an interesting matchup that was. A lot of board-based combat. And I look forward to playing against that some more. Mark's always a great opponent. That is all for this one. But don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.